You're listening to a bonus episode of the Apparelist podcast, where we talk about high-level topics that are relevant to the decorated apparel community. Tune in monthly for regular episodes and enjoy this special edition. Hello, Apparelist podcast listeners. Thank you for joining us for another excellent episode where we are recording on site at Printing United Expo 2024 in Las Vegas. It is day 2 as we sit down to record this podcast, and I have to say day 1 was incredibly exhilarating. It was a packed show floor, and we were busy from start to actually well past finish, and I expect today to be the same. So, of course, this podcast is designed to bring you conversation about really, higher level topics, things that really help your apparel decorating business run better. Joining me today for this episode are some fine folks from STAHLS. We have Carleen Gray and Josh Ellsworth on today. Thank you guys both so much for joining.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited because I feel like you guys have a really good sense of what's happening in the industry. You guys are very on top of paying attention to trends, not only in technologies, but also in styles and things that are happening in the industry. And that's really what we want to talk about today. So I will just jump into it. Josh, first question for you. As leaders, as people who are really forward in the industry, what are you currently seeing in terms of innovation that really excites you? And that can be anything. It can be equipment, it can be software, it can be trends. What are we seeing?
Yeah, so I can take a whole episode up with all the innovation happening in the industry, and really innovation that's disrupting the industry, but also connecting the industry. So just from our point of view, we're seeing shop management software that can address the challenges around low quantity orders. We're seeing shop management software that connects to equipment to make it more efficient for producing on demand. We're seeing a drive and growth in on demand, really fueled by the growth in e-commerce and opportunities in e-commerce for decorators and sellers and everybody in the value chain. And we're seeing, from a STAHLS side, just better, softer, more options in heat transfers to be able to heat print on demand.
Love that. Carleen, anything you would like to add?
Yeah, I think what we are seeing too is that, the quantity of one used to be the enemy of this industry. How to do something custom profitably was just, don't talk to us about it. And what we've done through technology is make that a possibility, make it profitable, and make it much easier for the customers to do that. And that is really the biggest trend, print on demand, exactly that, and making it profitable.
Yeah, we did a print on demand panel yesterday where it really seems to me that is the big disruptor. It started in COVID, or really accelerated, I guess I should say, in COVID, but we're not seeing that go away. It seems like that's going to continue to happen.
I think, good.
It was always a goal, and people would, for years, come to us and they want to print one of these or one more, a replacement one because somebody lost something. It was very difficult to do, and what the trend is now and what we've enabled through software, through decorating technologies, is enabled our customers to do that and do so profitably.
Yeah, and I'll add just the explosion of technology sets that can now fit in the bucket of print on demand. So I've heard it referred to as brand on demand now, and in different terms, because when people typically think about print on demand, they think about direct garment printing or dye sublimation, which are still very relevant. But now the options, the decoration finishes that fit into that bucket of print on demand, quantity of one, making only what you need exactly when you need it, are vast, and there are many more choices.
I have to agree. It's crazy to see how that has, I think you're right, disrupted the industry. So then we're talking about these trends with that print on demand, and this is actually the perfect segue into my next question, because we're talking about trends in equipment that we're seeing now starting to rise to that occasion. So what do you think is on the horizon for 2025 when it comes to how equipment is going to fulfill that need? And feel free, either of you, to jump in on that.
Well, you're going to hear us keep referring back to technology. We consider ourselves an apparel decoration technology company. So that the technology for the Pro Place IQ, for example, which makes ease of operation, reduces friction, reduces any chance of putting a logo in the wrong place. Image projection, as we would say, is something that we would say is really going to change the game and make things much easier for customers to be successful every time they're printing a garment.
Yeah, I mean, just innovation that reduces downtime on equipment and drives more efficiency and reduces administration. So it's actually to a point where we're thinking of how, if we're doing it well, we should be thinking about how the product will be fulfilled and made at the point the product is built for proposal, for quote, for e-commerce.
Yeah.
And when it's imagined from that standpoint, we're creating an actual manufacturable mock-up. And now we can adopt scan-to-print workflows, scan-to-project workflows, scan-to-sew workflows across all of the decoration disciplines on a shop floor to really to be able to drive on-demand in a more meaningful way.
Yeah.
So on-demand to delivery and the whole ecosystem, the whole workflow through there is what we're really focusing on, and it's always going to come back to technology and building that for the customer.
Yeah, I love that. Kind of along those same lines, like we talk about technology obviously as being a huge component of this, but I'm also thinking that the whole COVID thing and then the shift to print on demand and the change in quantities and all this disruption we're seeing is also being impacted by business practices too, because I think we all unfortunately heard the news of like a lot of shops closing because they just couldn't keep up and they weren't able to pivot and they didn't adopt new technologies as the industry changed and things like that. So kind of on that better business practices side, Josh, why do you think that this has also become an important focus for decorators?
Yeah, because I think it really comes down to the workforce and a company's culture. And if you are basically piecing things together through brute force, it's not going to be a great employee experience. We're already facing challenges with attracting and retaining talent. And so when you compound those issues with having a work environment that an employee can't win and thrive in, it's creating long-term challenges and challenges that some shops can't overcome, because we're asking employees to do things on quantities, size orders that they could do on a bulk screen printing job, et cetera. But now we're asking them to do that on a small quantity order without addressing the issue with technology. Like, that's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah. And when you're talking about printing only what you need, there is no room for error there. And you have to have standard operating procedures.
Yes.
You have to run your business more professionally there. And the whole thing with print only what you need, it is actually a better for the whole industry, better for the planet. It is a more sustainable way to approach business. So it's obviously it benefits the employees. They have a better experience at work, and it is a benefit for the whole industry, as you will, because we're not printing more than what we need, not making mistakes, and it's a more refined process.
Oh yeah, I mean the topic of sustainability, boy, talk about being able to fill entire podcast episodes about it, because we could talk about, I personally could talk about it forever because it's a huge like soapbox for me personally. Want to go back to something you had talked about, Josh, about like that sustainable workforce, because that's actually one of the presentations you guys did in our Perilous Live Theater, and I think it's really important to talk about because I don't want to call it a tired topic, but it's a topic that's been on everybody's mind. However, continues to be kind of an issue. So I think taking actionable steps, which is something you guys covered in your presentation, is really crucial. Don't just talk about it, do it.
Yeah, and I think technology changes are intimidating.
Yeah.
Generally in our industries, shops lack technology and technology adoption, but where a shop has adopted technology and they've built their process around it, being able to switch to another technology can also be disastrous. So I think shops need to take an approach where they can operate parallel systems and integrate systems in a better way and connect in a better way. But don't think about it, I got to change my whole shop to be able to address this demand and then just stay in place. Like, you can run parallel systems. There are shop management softwares for on-demand that you can start with that can expand to bulk ordering over time. You don't have to rip the Band-Aid off. You can run them in parallel.
I think that's an important point to remember.
Yeah.
Like, take a breath. It's okay. You can do this. You can build this, and you don't have to just completely change everything up into the ship, right?
Right.
Carleen, something really interesting that we focus on with Printing United Alliance is we do a lot of industry surveys. We like to talk to our people and understand what printers are going through, especially when it comes to global influences and economic trends and things like that, because it absolutely does affect our industry. Those big things hit our industry. So, there's a lot of discussion around current global economy, rising prices, world conflicts, all of these negative things. So, in your opinion, how do you feel, we as an industry should be reacting and adapting to that?
Well, first of all, focus on what you can control in your business. And that's, the business. And that's the first thing. And We look at this industry as it is an industry of entrepreneurs. And obviously, if you're starting your own business, it's because you want to be your boss. You want to be in control. So look at what you can control, bring in the technology, bring in the practices that allow you to have more control, and focus there. We are all about, as you know, we keep saying technology, we're all about training the customer, showing them where they can be more successful, and focusing on the long-term success of our customers. So get as much training as possible, look at your organization, what can you put in place to basically write your own script and drive the bus there. Because if you let all the noise in, it will impact you. You can let it impact you negatively.
Right.
You know, so I have to say it, and I congratulate this industry on being so very entrepreneurial.
Oh, I love how you say we focus on training our customers. That's, you guys are very, very good about that, but I think that's important. That's crucial. You can't just set them up to fail, right?
No.
Like it's very important.
Yeah, and one of the things that we train on is like as market conditions do change and things get more competitive, you need to really think about your customer and how you're creating unique value. Because if you're going to operate as a generalist, you're probably not going to create as much value as you potentially could for your target market segments, and you're going to be reduced to competing on price and turn time, and that's not a space that you want to be in, is winning on price. So focus on your customers, go deeper to your target market segments. How can you create this space where they want to pick you over anybody else, and really enhancing that value prop based on those target segments? And that will help you rise above kind of what we call the red ocean, where everybody's fighting over the same business and being reduced to price.
Yep. And obviously I don't want to just focus on the doom and gloom, because here we are positive people. We lift each other up. That's a great thing. Aaron Montgomery always says, rising tide lifts all boats, right? And that's a lot of what we do here. So of course, like let's acknowledge that's happening. That's the reality. But let's also focus on some of the positive things that we're also hearing, because in our State of the Industry reports, we do hear that despite some of these things, the noise, I think a lot of people are not letting that in. I think you're right, Carleen. They're kind of like, okay, yes, there's this noise, but I'm going to choose to control those things. And we are hearing a spirit of optimism going into 2025. So, Carleen, what do you think some of the trends that are driving that?
Well, I mean, there's still major opportunity for branded apparel. And then you see the decoration technologies are getting better and better. And you're having more control. So everything that's coming out is giving you more opportunity to specialize, to control the variables, and to be more profitable, and to, deliver better value to your customers. So I'd say, this is an industry that will definitely focus on what they can do better and deliver more value. Yeah, absolutely.
Josh, what are some of the challenges maybe we anticipate going in? Just kind of talking about both sides of the coin here, going into the 25, but maybe next 3 to 5 years?
3 to 5 years, so crystal balling the challenges for 3 to 5 years. It's tough to predict 3 to 5 minutes lately, but I think some of the challenges I think that are going to face this space are consolidation. We're seeing a lot of shift in the landscape in the way people are taking products to market. And so we're a big believer in collaboration and connectivity. We think that's what compounds value for everybody. That's what makes people optimistic, partnering well, and we've learned how to collaborate better, I'd say, through the last 3 to 5 years. But consolidation's still a real thing. And so I think that decorators are going to have to choose wisely with their partnerships, their alliances, how they consider their role in the value chain and where they participate and how they engage, because I think consolidation is a big threat that we're seeing in this space.
Interesting.
Yeah, and we are entering our 93rd year in business, and I say this is an industry of entrepreneurs. What we really focus on is the long-term success of our customers. If the customers are not successful, we're not, and we're very leery of anybody looking for short-term success, quarterly gains or anything like that. We are in it for the long haul and working with the customers for the long-term success of their businesses. As we always say, we like to create capable, confident garment decorators who are in control of their business goals. That is what our success looks like.
Yeah.
So that's a commitment we have, and it is challenging when you see the consolidation.
Yeah. So, I mean, kind of like you said, even though I like asking the crystal ball question, but everybody does laugh because, it's impossible. But I think the reason why it is important to sort of think about that is to think about that long-term success. You don't have to necessarily be able to predict everything in the future, but if you're putting the right tools in place now, you're probably set up for long-term success. So that's
Yeah, and I mean, it is fun to talk about the future for sure, and try to predict the future, and really have a vision that and a mission that carries you into the future with what is your North Star, what are you looking to accomplish as an organization. So yeah, I love the future questions and thinking about the industry as a whole and where it's heading.
Okay, well, good. I'm just going to keep asking them then.
Let's do it.
Some people really hate when I ask that question, and it's fine. I'm fine with that. Another favorite question I like to ask is, okay, so I'm going to ask this in two parts. So part one, favorite part about being in the industry, Carleen?
Oh, the people and growing businesses and growing the success of your customers. It's just, and it's a friendly industry. It's exciting industry, colorful. Yeah, it never gets old.
Yeah.
Never, never.
Yeah, I'd say two-part, the diversity and then really the creativity. Like, you walk onto a show floor like this, you're going to talk to graphic designers, some of the most brilliant creative minds that are starting brands or starting businesses. You're going to talk to technology folks, engineers and software developers that are looking to solve problems in unique ways and partner in unique ways. You're going to talk to owner-operators, small business that are working with family and friends out of their home decorating. And so just the diversity of client type and folks that make this industry what it is one of the best parts.
I love that.
And being around so long, we run into people that are just, major companies now. And we remember when they got a heat press.
That's
we
so cool.
remember when they were just like, what do I do with this thing?
So I had a fun story this morning, and we actually got a photo in the booth. So we had a lady come up that she remembered coming to the STAHLS facility in 2006 and buying her vinyl cutter for me. Which was pretty awesome. Like, that's nearly 20 years ago.
Oh my gosh.
And she was like sharing with me, she said, you were so excited. I'm pretty sure it was your first sale you made. And I'm still using that equipment and that cutter. So it's cool to see those people come back decades later.
That is so cool. I got goosebumps. What a great story. I
it was
love
fun.
that. Hey, what a great way to start your day too, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so second part of the question, favorite trend from 2024 so far? I guess it's not technically over while we're in like the back half,
I think we're pretty much in agreement on this. The partnerships and the collaborations that we're doing with other brands, it's just exciting to do, and it really elevates both of the partnership elevates both of the parties involved and puts the products and the services and the value proposition right out in front of the customers, and it's really something that we feel we want to continue doing.
Yeah, and I would say, like, the trends that are happening with some of our collaborators in blank apparel and the brands that are coming to market, like, it's so cool that heat printing technology is so perfectly ready to address the diverse set of fabrics and product constructions that are coming out. And so by brands collaborating with decorating technology companies like STAHLS, we're coming up with unique solutions that decorators and sellers can expand product assortment for what they can make. They can drive higher item values, higher order values, higher lifetime customer values. And so collaboration is good for everybody involved, because we're able to adopt those trends and say, okay, here's how you can decorate this new awesome piece from brand A or brand B or brand C with this product, to be able to create something that your client is willing to wear and willing to wear out, which means the piece is going to get the brand impressions. It's not going to end up in the landfill, and that's what we want to create.
Yeah, and I think too, having done this and set this sort of a trend, people come to us earlier and more upstream. We're doing the testing, we're doing the washing. So upon launch, it's already tested, and they know where they can go with the decorating.
Yeah. Another topic that could be an entire podcast episode, and actually Josh has done a podcast with us about how to determine best decoration methods for certain blanks. So there is another podcast for that.
Yeah, so I'll actually give you my least favorite trend.
Okay, do it.
So people think direct-to-film is the end-all, be-all, and does everything. And so I love the trend of direct-to-film and the opportunities it opens, but it is not the only way to decorate the garment. I've talked to probably a dozen decorators just this morning. They're like, oh, we don't need screen printed transfers, we do direct to film. I'm like, well, no, you actually should consider screen printed transfers or direct screen printing, or there's a place for all the technology sets. You can't just have a single solution and expect to maximize your value.
And where we're seeing that really is the new entrance into this industry, where direct to film is the single lingo.
Yeah.
And there's where we can do a better job, and we really make that attempt in educating them and showing them there are other options.
Yes. And that's actually a huge motivation behind the Apparel Zone, because you're right, there are a lot of new decorators entering this industry who need to know that there are so many options. It's almost mind-blowing how many options there are, and you actually have to look at all of them and consider what each of them brings to the table and how they work together. I think that's a huge, crucial piece that we need to make sure newer decorators especially understand.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because DTF is easy, but it's not the only.
Right.
It's one size
Cool,
fits all.
but
Yeah.
not the only. Awesome. Okay, guys, before we wrap up this episode, what are some ways people can connect with you? Where can they find STAHLS? Where can they find you guys?
Yeah, so first off, I would say our website, stahls.com, transferexpress.com, to name a couple of them. Also, Carleen and I are both available and accessible on LinkedIn or via email. So those are a couple great ways to connect. And we have a whole community called Heat Press for Profit on Facebook, where you can engage with other decorators like you, get inspired, see what people are doing, ask the challenging business questions. And so I'm very active in that group along with our team, helping to engage with decorators daily.
All social channels.
All,
Yeah.
all. So even if you only have one social channel, you're going to find STAHLS there.
You will, yes.
Which is great. And of course, STAHLS has also been, as I mentioned, active participants with Apparelist. So if you go to apparelist.com and go back through some of our older episodes, we've had several, like I referenced the one where Josh joined us to talk about decoration methods. Ben Robinson has joined us to talk about not buying cheap equipment, because also something we should really, you should be really paying attention to. But there's a lot of great articles and everything like that. So again, apparelist.com. You can also find us Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Carleen and Josh, thank you so much for joining us.